There's nowhere safer than a child's backyard. It's a safe haven for them to run free and experience the joys of the outdoors. Well, under normal circumstances. Playtime is over.
There's some shit going on in there.
Grounded is one of the best survival crafting experiences you can get. It took a while and there was a point where I almost quit, but once Obsidian's world got its hooks into me, I could not put this game down. It's a world where something as boring as an empty can of soda can provide shelter, where toenails can be crafted into a grody sword of legend, or where a bicycle, lawnmower, and picnic table become towering opportunities for platforming. You wouldn't look twice at these things in any other game, except for maybe Dead Rising, and it's all because you've been Rick Moranis down to the size of an ant.
Who the hell is Rick Moranis?
Grounded leans heavily into the logic-stretching realm of fantasy science, much like the 1989 Disney film it no doubt cribs from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I shrunk the kids.
I still have nightmares about that scene. Compared to other survival crafters, Grounded is very story-driven. It's all about uncovering the mystery of why you were dispatched into the backyard, foiling the plans of the evil director Schmechter, yes, that's his name, and retracing the aftermath of Dr. Wendell Tully's scientific misadventures.
Ah! Blasted hominid tech! Turn it off! Turn it off! Note to self. Check soldering on the relay diodes of the neural displacer. Again. Yes! Again!
Opting for a handcrafted world instead of procedurally generated gave Obsidian the chance to craft a ton of intriguing environmental storytelling. The biggest example is obvious. A neat and tidy backyard wouldn't be nearly as interesting to explore as the tangled jungle it's become. Why is it an overgrown mess? Why has the trash not been taken out in months? Why is there a wedding ring at the bottom of the pond with W+T engraved on it? Why the hell is there an action figure of Rash when Battletoads didn't come out until 1991 and this game is clearly set in the 80s? Explore the world, find those audio tapes, and find out. Except for that last one. Pretty sure that's just a cameo. For real, where can I get one of these? I can't remember the last time I had so much fun just exploring one of these types of games. Everything becomes a hell of a lot more interesting when you're ant-sized, not to mention nourishing. Strewn about the map are tooth-shaped children's vitamins called milk molars. Spotting one of these squirreled away in a nook or cranny is always exciting. That's a figure of speech, there are no giant squirrels in this game. Cracking open one of these suckers and, quote, slurping the core gives you stat points to spend on improving your character, while the much rarer mega milk molars give you party-wide boosts to max resource, consumable, and arrow stacks. I am always stoked to get Yoked.
Get yoked!
The only problem is, for some reason they're locked behind a tier 2 hammer, which discourages early exploration since there's no easy way to mark them on the map and come back later. There are placeable markers, but let's keep it real, nobody is going to use up inventory space carrying the materials you need to craft them. My advice, bite the bullet and take down a stink bug as soon as possible so you can craft the insect hammer. It'll be a pain, because you know what you need to craft the gas mask that trivializes encounters with them? Stink bug parts. These gas-spewing pests reek like cilantro, and they love it. The art team put a lot of work into portraying the time period Grounded is set in to make it feel as authentically retro as possible. Cassette tapes, old video games, and juice boxes and joysticks, a straight-up first edition D&D parody. This game is a constant reminder of the simpler times, and I just really love it for that. In other words, this game be 80s as fuck. Is it just me, or does Moldork sound like Jim Cummings?
You think you outsmarted me, the mighty Muldoon? I don't think so, you.
Grounded drops you into a small world with big possibilities. I got the distinct impression that the devs had a ton of fun designing each locale. Everywhere from the picnic table with the Minotaurs and Myrmidons maze, to the sandbox lousy with buried treasure and antlions waiting in ambush.
That's how they get you. They're under the goddamn ground.
To the pond loaded with secret caverns and aquatic wildlife. It's not a place you want to travel carelessly, lest you attract the attention of something much bigger than you. Oh yeah, everybody gangster till they're staring down the koi fish. Huh, guess he wasn't hungry that day. From what I've seen of the trailers, the game wasn't nearly this packed with content back in 2020. If you've been on the fence about buying it like I was, the fully Yoked edition is your chance to get in there and have some fun. I could talk for hours about all the cool stuff to see, but I think it's time we switch gears from the flora and focus on the fauna. Aphids and larvas and termites, oh my. And of course, the thing that I've neglected to show up to now, giant spiders. Yeah, this is the part where I have to warn you that this video will contain giant f***ing spiders. If you have an aversion to such imagery, you may want This game is a sobering reminder that we are all surrounded by monsters. We're just too big to worry about them. Turns out a harmless little ladybug will rock your shit if you get cocky. Ants will quickly aggro into vicious swarms that dogpile anything that threatens the colony, including other insects. Yeah, you can totally trigger infighting just like in Doom. Might be useful for taking down an early stink bug. Oh, by the way, ants are fine with you stealing from their stockpile of food, but stealing their babies to make bombs? Not so much. Some antlions will lie in wait to trap you at the bottom of sandy pits. I guess this really is an open world sandbox game. Boo! Mosquitoes? Ugh, they annoy the crap out of me. They'll spot you from a mile away and they simply refuse to be ignored. Big buzzing bastards. Ha-ha! No buggy sucky $5 for you! Water fleas will gang up to relinquish me of all my life fluids, and they're just having the time of their lives.
What about now? It's time to rock with the biggity buck bumble.
No, Buck! Don't bumble me, please! Damn it! That's it, I'm turning you into mac and bees. No, really, that's what it's called. Mac and bees. Slimy yet satisfying.
Yum!
As for spiders, well, they're spiders. They're venomous, they're dangerous, they're relentless.
That is not a friendly neighborhood, Spider-Man!
They even show up in the pond. Diving bell spiders are freaking rad, and the way they refill your oxygen on death actually kinda makes sense. Look them up sometime. Orb weavers can pull a Peter Parker and snare you in webbing. And wolf spiders? Ugh. Even after 80 hours, these hairy dudes can still give me the creeps. They sleep in their dens during the day, but when night falls, they become silent hunters that wander around the map looking for prey. As for black widows, we don't talk about black widows. There is an arachnophobia slider that's supposed to make them a little more tolerable. Well, let's see what it does. Well, I gotta say, it does not look like a spider anymore. Grounded certainly has some baddies that'll bug you. But there is a pest I hate more than anything else, even mosquitoes. If the red Aramer from Ghosts and Goblins were a bug, it would be one of Grounded's wasps. They constantly fly out of range of my melee attacks, they're hard to hit with a bow, they fire venomous stingers that deal a ton of damage and can't be parried or consistently dodged, they have a move where they fly in a circle while healing and making the most annoying sound in the world. If you aggro more than one wasp, just forget it. Get the hell out of there.
Escape, 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 escape.
It sucks, because if you want to unblock the entrance to a really fun area to explore, you gotta deal with these hateful, spiteful, flying pains in the ass. And you bet the first thing they'll do is attack your base. Fuck wasps. I think Rick Moranis said it best.
I'll tell you, their size, it's a jungle out there.
And you know the rule of the jungle, the weak don't survive. You'll need to make like a monster hunter and jury-rig insect parts together into weapons and armor. It's a lot like Terraria, how players can specialize in certain playstyles using armor buffs and mutations, player-specific buffs that rank up over time. Sword and board, javelineer, walk softly and carry a big f***ing stick, get pokey with a mosquito's life-stealing proboscis, get your Legolas on, or even magic staves powered by candy. Yes, candy, which can also be used to apply, quote, elements to equipment. Upgrade a weapon with spicy, smack an edible bug, and watch it cook on the spot. Pretty handy, but also what? Yes, in the world of Grounded, fire is apparently spicy. That's some crazy person logic, but this is also a game where raw science has manifested in physical form and is used as currency, so it tracks. Man, there's some going on around here. The Mantis set is great. It's all about crits and bleeds, with even more bleeding when using the Assassin mutation. Tired of bugs running away at low health? Use this set and watch them spontaneously expire. Omae wa mou shinderu. Nani? And because the scythe does both chopping and slashing damage, you can use it to cut down grass. This is awesome. I feel like a samurai in a bamboo forest.
It's harvest time!
Offense is pretty basic. You give him a little of the old hack and slash, the stab and jab, bludgeon the curmudgeon. Defensively, Grounded is very parry-focused, so much so that you can get bonuses to increase the window or buff you on perfect parries. Shields are an option if you aren't confident, but the best weapons are two-handers, and large bugs will soak up a ton of damage, so it's better if you just practice your parries on everything. Play this game enough and you'll even be able to parry groups of foes just by sound cues alone. The problem is bosses, spiders, and some large bugs can throw out a combo that parrying won't interrupt. Ladybirds aren't too bad, it's only a couple hits, but bosses especially get these ridiculous multi-hit combos that demand perfection on the player's part. Go ahead, just try and parry the Mantis without mashing. There were many times when I did not recognize the start of a combo attack, parried the first hit, and then took a ton of damage afterward because I wasn't prepared. Many times, Grounded demands multiple parries in a row and just doesn't give you enough reward afterward. Some bosses will even start throwing in an extra swing when reaching later phases, which, besides exacerbating the issue, is just really mean.
You got knocked the f*** out, man!
This problem gets so much worse in New Game Plus, where enemies hit harder and have a chance of being infused, which increases their health and adds a whole bunch of bullshit buffs. Broodmother been taking her milk molars. I was a little bit disappointed in general by how New Game Plus was handled. It just gives you tougher bugs with some new spawns, new milk molar locations, and some color and model swaps. For example, the sandbox was red in my first playthrough, but now it's blue. The biggest problem is the brutal, punishing increase in boss difficulty. Imagine combat is one of those spinning light games at the arcade, and every time you miss that sweet spot, you get chunked for a third of your health. Meanwhile, the boss gets a life bar that's longer than this current presidential term. It is downright egregious, to the point where I honestly didn't want to play anymore. But keep in mind, I'm just talking about New Game Plus here. The main game does have some difficulty spikes for sure, but it's nothing I couldn't overcome with a little determination. Uh-oh, the skeleton that looks like Sans just said determination. Better point it out in the comments. I've been doing my best to keep this video structured, but now I just want to take some time to talk about all the little things that make Grounded so great. Like the building system. It's awesome, very intuitive. Being able to build walls straight into the ground keeps unsightly gaps from becoming an issue. I had a blast building this little castle base, complete with fancy couch, chandelier, giant mold dork statue, and even a zipline hub. My coziness levels be through the roof. No, really, you get a coziness meter that levels up by channeling your interior decorator. Higher coziness means better buffs when you leave for your daily adventures. Finally, a real incentive to use all of the usually pointless decor. You even get the Handy Net in New Game Plus for easier building. Just take care that you build properly. This game takes support structures very seriously. Ziplines take a bit of commitment to set up, but if you can build them high enough so blockage isn't a problem, you can zoom all the way across the map with no limit on the distance. Now that's handy. And so is being able to move storage containers without having to take everything out of them. If any other survival crafter has done that, I've certainly never played it. A game that looks this good really needs a photo mode, and yup, Grounded has that too. It's not hard to take some really artsy-fartsy photos. That's actually how I made this video's thumbnail. The 4 kids you choose from all have tons of unique dialogue, which is impressive enough, but if you play online, they'll even interact with each other.
Wilhelm!
Ugh, not so loud, Peter. I've got a bad headache.
It's a shame my only experience with multiplayer was very brief, since the game doesn't seem to agree with international connectivity. All the dialogue is nice, but I was starting to get a bit tired of Pete's constant slew of nerdy comments.
A giant spider! Oh, magic's birthed you!
It's like, I get it, a foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little mites. It would have been nice to get a speech frequency slider, but you can change the dialogue to Japanese. And last but not least, there's a third-person view, which, yeah, I never bothered with. I prefer the immersion of first person. Gotta get those spiders super up and close, know what I'm saying? And now some things that irked me, like constantly needing to tend to my furnaces to keep them spitting out mushroom bricks got real old. You need a lot of bricks if you want to build something decently sized and sturdy. Be prepared to do this input a bunch. There are a ton of different trinkets with neat effects, but you only get one equip slot, and for 95% of my playtime, that slot was taken up by the essential dandelion pod. This is a game where heights are a common hazard, so being able to safely float with the press of a button is extremely valuable. I think the dandelion pod should just be ingrained into your character, like how you unlock better zipline mobility later in the game. And come on, just give me 2 slots. Just one is needlessly restrictive. Imagine if you were playing Dark Souls and you could only equip 1 ring. Like, come on. Speaking of Dark Souls, scarabs are this game's version of crystal lizards and are essential for upgrading weapons. But they're so hard to spot in the tall grass and run away so fast that I've never managed to catch one out in the wild. It was only under the shed where 3 or 4 are stuck in an enclosed space that I could consistently nab their much needed materials. Speaking of rare bugs, what's the deal with moths? I only saw my first one after 70 hours. As if punishing boss attacks weren't bad enough, most of them spawn in ads multiple times. It was refreshing as hell to fight the mantis and actually have it be one-on-one, though it's likely they just didn't want to model smaller mantis enemies. Watch the Matthew Matosis video on Dark Souls 2 sometime. He makes a great point about how inserting ads into a boss fight isn't interesting, it's just a lazy way to make it difficult. He also discussed wonky hitboxes, and yeah, Grounded has that problem too every once in a while. I know this is gonna sound like a Hawaiian complaining about living in Hawaii, but the weather is perfect every day. It would have been nice to get a rainstorm once in a while that could drastically change the way you travel, like make you have to stick to cover or dodge droplets or something. But nope, weather-wise, everything's just hunky-dory. I can just see the morning news broadcast. Skelly Bones here with your Sunday forecast. Sunny with a chance of nothing else for the rest of the week. Next up, local crazy man is convinced we're living in a simulation.
There, keep that thing fully stocked. Where was the chalky milk?
That and more coming up here on your local BWNS. Grounded has been very financially successful for Obsidian. Hell, just about every update trailer boasts about the game's millions of players. So why is it that 50% of them quit before going to the Oak Tree lab and saving Burgle, which is basically the proper start of the game? Well, I did some looking, and it appears that most survival crafters have an early player drop rate. 60% drop 7 days to die before surviving a single hour, 60% drop Terraria before crafting a workbench, 58% peace out from Core Keeper before the first boss, 53% quit Green Hell before saving their game? What the fuck? Note to self, don't buy Green Hell apparently. Now this sounds bad, but keep in mind that survival crafting is a hugely popular genre. People are always looking for the next Minecraft, not to mention the social aspect. Folks will often push their friends to buy such games for the multiplayer or just buy it for them. This video is my message to all of you who poked around for a bit in Grounded before deciding it wasn't your thing. I urge you to give it another chance. It's not perfect, but the concept and world are so inspired in their design and so confident in execution that I think the only fair excuse for staying away would be the giant spiders. Which, yeah, fair point, but if AOUSs, arachnids of unusual size, don't faze you, then it would be an awful shame if you missed out on Grounded. Hi. If I could just have a personal moment of your time. It takes a lot of work to make these videos, so if you had a good time watching this, help a skeleton out by leaving a like and a comment. And if you really had a good time and would like to support the channel, well, I haven't made the leap to Patreon yet, but you can always drop a thanks down there and get your comment highlighted. It's a really easy way to support channels that I don't think a lot of people know about. As of May 31st, I'll have been doing this for 6 years. That's also my birthday, and I don't have any plans on stopping. To those of you that have been keeping me going with their kind comments, you are just so appreciated. Thank you for sticking around. This time, I'm giving you a like, because I like your style. See you next time.